All right then. So now let's go ahead and create our header component. So let me close all these things and let me collapse it. And under the components folder, I'm going to create a new file called header.tsx. And let me mark this one as the use client, then RAFC, which is going to be header, something like that. Then I need to implement it. So layout, this is the layout, main layout where it is being rendering. This is the page.tsx, right? Okay. So what I'm gonna do is this is going to be the home page, right? The user needs to be authenticated, and it will come over here, and so the header needs to be rendered over here, not there, right inside the providers header from add components header. So save this so you can see the header component over there, right? And now let's jump into the header. And for this header component, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say class name. Of course, width needs to be full. Okay. And the height, of course, it's going to be 16. Then it needs to have shadow and flex item center, and it needs to be justify content should be, otherwise let's leave it as it is. Let's worry about that later. And px, of course, padding left and right, it needs to be 4. Py, it's going to be 3, something like that. All right. So then inside over here, first what we need to do, we need to bring a logo. So for that, I'm just going to say logoepson.com, where we can download free logos and everything. In this case, I'm go for this one, or we can choose oops, let us choose anyone. Okay, let me choose this one. Click. Okay, it's an svg. So what I'm going to do is in the public over here, I'm going to create a new file called logo.svg, and I'm going to paste it. Save it. Right. And now we have to bring that logo over here. And in order to display that logo, I'm going to create myself a new component called logo container. Okay. Where we can display our logo. So let's go ahead and create a new component inside over here called logo container.tsx, and let's mark that as client component. Then REFC logo container. For the time being, let's save it and let's import it over here. Okay, so we have to display, we have to use this logo container for both, for the, what to say, it needs to be reusable component, and I should be able to display that logo container on both header and the footer as well as. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is inside this, I'm going to bring an image from next image. Then for the source src, I'm going to supply the svg logo.svg, then alternate alt, which is going to be the logo. And for width, what I'm going to do is width, for this I'm going to have whether I'm going to display it on the header or in the footer. I need to decide it, right? So I'm just going to say is footer. Okay, so which is going to be is footer, which is going to carry on the boolean value, and it needs to be an optional prop, and by default it's going to carry on the false value. So if it is footer, then I need to display the logo with 240. If it is not a footer, on the header the size needs to be 120. Let's do the same for that as well, as 240 and 120. Let's change it later. And then class name, object needs to contain, right? And it should be a prioritized images. So save it, and that's how it looked. Okay, for 120 it's quite a bit 40. Let's fix the width 40 as well as. So let's 3 times of that, it's going to be 120, not 160. All right, I think that logo, it's pretty much enough for us, right? So then right after here on the logo, we need to bring the menu options, right? We need to bring the menu options. So let's go ahead and bring that menu options now. So for that, let's create an unordered list, and inside here I'm gonna create myself a link tags. Oops, link tag, which is going to be next link. And which is going to be the home, right? That's how it looks. So instead of gray, let's make some customizations over here. For this, I'm just going to say text neutral 400, and whenever I'm hovering it, text neutral 200, right? This is how it looks on the dark mode. This is for dark mode. But normally text size needs to be neutral 500, and whenever I'm hovering it, text color needs to be neutral 800, right? That is for light mode. And for this class name px, it's going to be 4. So we will have some padding over there, and everything needs to be flex inside. Just like this link tag, I'm gonna bring home, about us, and services. About, services, and one more thing right after here, elements, all the UI elements. Okay, UI elements. And on the right hand side, I have to bring the theme switcher. Div class name margin left auto, and I need to bring the theme switcher. So let's bring that theme switcher and all those things. Okay, so let's bring that theme switcher over here. Theme switcher. Then I need to bring the user button. Okay, so for that, I'm just going to say flex item center, and the gap, it's going to be 4, just like that. Okay, and now the problem is, if you minimize it, see, it needs to be more responsive. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a toggle container over here, and I'm going to make sure this needs to be hidden, but from the medium devices onwards, it needs to be displayed. So we don't have this toggle container. So I'm going to create myself a new toggle container.tsx, and let's mark this one as the use client rafc, and toggle container, save that changes, and let's import it over here, save it. And you should not, you couldn't see that menu, but you can see the toggle container. So what we are going to do is, let's bring this and let's get into the shadcn and search for sheet. So when you click this, you can see a menu is coming from the right side of the screen. So we are going to do that exactly same over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this stuff completely and I'm going to paste it over there. Then we need to copy this one and I'm going to replace this one. Oops. All right. So inside this now over here, instead of that open, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a menu icon from Lucid React. Then for this trigger, what I'm going to do is class name. This needs to be hidden on the medium devices, but on the small mobile devices, it needs to be displayed. Okay. I don't want any title at all. So, but I need to keep an empty title. So just keep the sheet title over there. And I don't need the descriptions at all. Just remove it. Okay. So inside the header, right after this content, I need to bring the menu links. Either what you can do is we can change this into a reusable component, or we can simply copy it and just change the UI and put it over there. Right now, I'm just going to copy and put it, and let me import it. And I'm going to change this into flex column, and items everything needs to be on the starting point. Save it. And now if you get back and if you push that to the bottom right side corner, and you should be able to see this. And if I toggle it, we can't see the links. Inspect the elements. I think the problem is this one. Let's remove this, and you should be able to see that, right? You should be able to see that, and if you close it, it will go on. If I click this, it will be gone. And if I expand it, you will not see that trigger button, but you will see this options and everything, right? Perfect. And for this, let me keep this inside over here itself. Now the alignment will be perfectly fine. Okay. So now we have ourselves a fully functional and responsive home screen. When you click this, it will take the user to the home screen. And when you click this, it will take the user to the element screen, right? So now all we have to do is to go ahead and start working on the element screen. And along with this, this header, we need to keep one more button, which is for right over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is const is equals to current user. Let's ask that is for Next.js server. Let's use the use auth, and let's make sure this as an asynchronous one, and we have to make sure await. and I need to access the user ID, right? So here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring a button from ./UI button, and I'm going to bring the plus icon, and which is going to say create. Okay, so we can't use this. That's unnecessary. All right, now we have the create button over there. And for this, I'm just going to say variant, which is going to be, let's keep it as the default variant itself, but I'm going to reduce the size, which is going to be the small size, just like that. Okay. And for what I'm going to do is this one, if I have the user ID, then I need to say link, paste it. Otherwise, I have to say link, paste it. So for this href, for the time being, I'm just going to say elements slash create. And for here, href, I'm just going to say sign in, save it. Okay. If the user is not authenticated, he will be pushed to the sign in page. If the user is authenticated, it is going to take the user to where? To the create page, right? So that is what this, right now we don't have that page, so we are getting that 404 error over here, right? So now let's go ahead and start create that page.